Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Tom.
Hey, it's our animal unit, and we're talking about one of my favorite animals. Even though I don't think they really like me too much, that would be the horse. I've ridden horses in the past. My dad had a client when I was a little girl, and his client had a lot of horses, so my dad took us horseback riding as kids, and of course I was bucked off, which means the horse threw me to the ground.
Yeah, I think people either love them or hate them or they're indifferent to them. I'm not a big fan of horses.
Oh, really?
I don't really understand the attraction to them. I think those equestrian sports are the stupidest thing I've ever seen when they run and jump over those hurdles and stuff like that.
Only rich people seem to actually participate in those.
Yeah, that's something that you want to use to congratulate yourself for being rich. But for the rest of us, it just seems kind of dumb. I'd rather watch mountain bikers use their own power and their own muscle power rather than using that of a horse.
Do you know how smart they are, though? Horses are very, very smart.
I'm sure they are, and we are going to talk about horses and the relationship between horses and humans in today's lesson. I think I was sounding a little negative there, but I should say that horses are they're great creatures. I'm not a big fan of horses myself, but I'm sure a lot of people like them for good reason. So let's find out what horses are all about, and let's find out about their relationship with humans. Let's read today's lesson from top to bottom.
There is a certain magic about horses. Tall and majestic, yet gentle and social. These animals inspire awe in many people who interact with them. But it's not just their beauty and personalities that make them special. Horses have also contributed greatly to the development of human civilization. For over 6,000 years, they've been essential as work and companion animals. Though most horses are now kept for sport and leisure riding, they weren't always treated well. In prehistoric times, horses were hunted for their meat, which was richer in iron and protein than beef. However, their role changed significantly around 3500 BC, when horses were first domesticated in Central Asia. The animals' stamina and speed allowed them to cover up to 160 kilometers in a single day, and people could sit comfortably on their backs. People found nearly endless uses for horses in fields like herding, farming, war, commerce, recreation, and much more. They could also pull vehicles like wagons and chariots. Many of these functions can now be performed by machines, and thus the role of horses has been reshaped. Their speed and power are now on display in horse racing. Though this sport is exciting, it is fraught with mistreatment of both horses and riders, as well as gambling by spectators. However, other modern horse roles are kinder. About 1.5% of U.S. households keep horses as pets, and many more people ride them for entertainment. They also make effective therapy animals. Horse therapy is particularly helpful for people with physical or mental trauma, developmental issues, and mental or cognitive illness. Their suitability for this job further emphasizes how reliable they are as animal companions.
Okay, let's talk about the contents of our lesson for today. We're not only talking about horses, but we're talking about horses and humans and their relationship to each other and how they've been helping each other out for many, many years throughout history. So here in the first paragraph, it says, there is a certain magic about horses. That much is certain. Horses are probably one of the most depicted animals in art. There's always people drawing pictures of horses. Kids, when they're young, are always trying to draw horses. So, indeed, horses are quite magical. And yes, indeed, we just love horses so much, much more than pigs, I think.
Yeah. Pigs are kind of dirty. I think that's a big reason why people don't like pigs. They really are kind of dirty. So we've got horses being described as being tall and majestic. Majestic meaning almost like a king or a queen. That's where this word comes from, majesty. So if you see something that's described as majestic, it's very regal, very noble, something that you would look at and really think highly of. So majestic. We often use this word, as I said, to describe kind of mountains, something that's really impressive and kind of beautiful. A lot of dignity. Horses are very dignified, unlike goats or pigs. They are not dignified animals. And horses can recognize people. They can become very familiar with you and grow to be very loyal and love you as a person if you take care of them.
Indeed, and one thing I've noticed about horses is that they're really big animals.
They are huge.
If you see them in pictures and stuff like that, you don't think of them as being that big, but when you actually go to a farm or something and you see a horse, you go, wow, that is a big animal. They're actually taller than humans, and they're majestic, but at the same time, they're gentle and social, which means they have friends, they get along with each other, and these animals inspire awe in many people who interact with them. So yes, they have a certain kind of magic. And of course, I'm from a small town, and I knew quite a few people who raised horses. And of course, when they spoke of their horses, they were very passionate about their horses. Those horses were very much an important part of their lives.
See, and I thought you would love horses because you grew up in an area with a lot of horses.
Well, I grew up in a small town, but not on a farm. There is a difference.
Well, it's not just their beauty and personalities that make them special. And yes, horses have personalities. Horses have also contributed greatly to the development of human civilization. If you contribute to something, sometimes we use this verb to talk about giving money or goods to a charity. You contribute or donate, but it also means they helped to cause something to happen or to bring about. So they helped bring about the development of human civilization. And civilization here, we use this word to talk about the society, the culture, the people of a particular time and a region or area. So here we're talking about the whole earth and the history of humans on this planet Earth. So they have given a lot, contributed a lot to the development of human civilization.
Right. Humans, of course, have been around for quite some time, but for 6,000 years, horses have been essential. They've been important as work and companion animals. So for even longer than the Chinese civilization, horses have been around, and people have used them as work animals, basically, to help them out in the field and to provide transportation and stuff like that. But they're also companion animals. If you have a horse as your pet, it can be your best friend, and I'm sure the horse feels the same way about you. Now, moving on to the next paragraph here, it says, though most horses are now kept for sport and leisure riding, they weren't always treated well. So nowadays, if people have horses, of course, they're kept or raised for sport. They might race the horses or enter them in competitions and things like that. Yes, again, from where I'm from, there would be the county fair, and of course, horses would compete in the fair just for what it was like a horse beauty contest, basically. They didn't really have to do anything. They just kind of looked at the horse and, oh, yes, this horse has been raised quite well. It has good muscular balance, a nice mane there. So, yes, this gets the blue ribbon. Yeah,
their hair that comes off their head is called their mane, and it's M-A-N-E. Same pronunciation as mane, M-A-I-N. Yeah, they do have particularly pretty hair. So you can use them for sport or leisure riding. But as Tom said, they weren't always treated very well. In prehistoric times, before we could write or before we have records of that time, horses were hunted for their meat. Why? Well, they had really nutritious meat. There was more iron and protein in their meat than beef that we eat today. So protein is one of those important nutrients that our bodies need to grow. It's a basic, essential nutrient that helps build our cells. So yeah, they were hunted and eaten in prehistoric times. And actually, I have to say, France still loves to eat horse meat.
Ooh.
Yuck.
Guess you can still do that. It's higher in iron and protein, so maybe that's why the French are such great poets and things like that. Who knows? However, their role changed significantly around 3500 BC when horses were first domesticated in Central Asia. So they were hunted as wild animals, but then their role changed 3,500 years ago in Central Asia, which would be where Mongolia is basically, and they were domesticated. They took the horses away from the forests and things like that and brought them home and put them on farms and used them for farming and other things.
Right. So they had a lot of stamina. Stamina refers to how long you can keep exercising or working physically and not be exhausted. They have a lot of endurance, you could say, and they have speed. They could cover up to 160 kilometers in a single day. And a bonus, people could sit comfortably on their backs or ride on the horse's back and feel quite comfortable. I never got comfortable riding a horse, so I'm just going to assume this is true. So people found nearly endless uses for horses. We're going to talk about some of those uses when we get back. But first, guys, we're going to take a quick break and listen to our Chinese teacher.
大家好，我是派老师。今天讲解的是11月份 Unit 6 Horses and Humans Past and Present 第一天的课程。这篇文章介绍的是马，包括马在古今人类生活中角色的转变。好，我们现在一起来看看这个单元的学习重点吧。请看第一段，第二个句子 tall and majestic 这个句子。好，请同学特别看到逗点之后 These animals inspire awe in many people 这边，请同学先看 awe A-W-E 这个名词，它是敬重的意思。就是说又带着3分畏惧或惊奇的心情。那接下来老师要补充一个形容词 OK 是复合形容词，请注意听哦。All inspiring 就是从我们刚刚看的这个句子改变而来的。A-W-E 那中间有一个连接号，后面加 inspiring， 它是什么意思呢？ All inspiring 其实就是要让你呢觉得非常的尊敬敬重呢，甚至于感佩的，非常佩服的。我们举个例子来说 Niagara Falls really is an awe-inspiring sight 尼加拉瀑布确实是非常令人叹为观止的风景。好，接下来请看到第3个句子 But it's not just their beauty and personalities that make them special 这个句子，这是一个分裂句。什么叫做分裂句啊？它其实是一种特别强调的句型，它不是我们一般正规的句型。那我们看一下，其实这个句子我们如果把它还原成没有分裂的句子，应该是Not just their beauty and personalities make them special。好，就不只是他们的美貌，还有他们的个性这里的 beauty 不能说美貌不好意思，因为这里指的是马嘛，那应该是说马的英姿还有呢，就是马的特性、个性，让他们很特别。那言下之意就是 something else makes horses special. What is it?句子后面这篇文章段落后面有一个句子有讲到了，其实就是 Their great contribution to the development of human civilization makes horses special。 他们对于人类文明的发展的贡献，让马匹非常的特别。那第2段我们可以看到马在几千年来和人类关系的转变。刚开始呢，其实是被人猎杀的。好，所以我们看这个句子 Though most horses are now kept for sport and leisure riding 请注意这个 kept 其实是饲养的意思，那但是在史前时代他们是被当作食物来源。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. We're talking about horses and humans, past and present, and our relationship with each other, you could say. When we left you, we were talking about horses in the past being hunted for meat because they had a lot of iron and protein in their flesh that was eaten. But nowadays, we don't eat horse meat quite as frequently as they used to, but some countries still think that horse meat is a good type of meat. I do not. I've had it once and I was horrified.
Oh, you did?
I didn't know I was eating horse meat. I was in France and I kept putting it in the microwave oven, trying to turn it brown. It's very red. Even when it's cooked, it's very red.
Okay.
So then someone laughed at me and said, hey, miss, you're eating horse meat. Anyway, yeah, they still eat it. Well, they have a lot of stamina, meaning they can work or they can go for long distances and not get tired. And we also found out that people felt like it was pretty comfortable to sit on their backs. So they went from being hunted to being used as a very useful farm animal and an animal that could help people in their real lives. So people found endless uses for horses in fields like herding. Herding is when you take either a dog or a horse and you try to get the animals in the field to move in a particular direction, like sheep. You often have to herd sheep, or sometimes you're herding, cattle. Some of these, not cows, but steer that they're raising for beef. So they herd, they farm. You could put them on a plow and they could pull the plow for you. And also they were used in war, although we really hated seeing horses die in war.
Yeah, lots of horses died in World War I understand. I think I read somewhere that more horses died than humans.
Ugh, horrible.
But you don't quote me on that because I haven't heard that statistic in a long time. But yes, indeed, if you've got a saddle and you've got stirrups and you've got spurs, then you can ride on a horse and you can do all sorts of things. You can do herding. You can, get all the cattle together. You can do farming. You can plant seeds in the ground. Of course, you can commit war or have war, fight your enemies, and you can conduct commerce. You can do trade and things like that. You can also use them for recreation. They can be for fun. You can ride them on trails and have yourself a good time. Maybe bring along a hunting rifle or something like that and go hunting with them. And of course, there are lots of other uses for horses. And they could also pull vehicles like wagons and chariots. And that's how people, for example, in the United States, moved westward. A lot of them rode in wagons that were pulled by horses.
And you know from seeing movies and pictures that horses were used for transportation for a long time until the car was invented, or the steam engine, which allowed us to have trains that could take you different places. So many of these functions can now be performed by machines, and thus the role of horses has been reshaped. That's just part of human history. As things progress, our roles change. Even human roles have changed. So there's speed and power. And the next time you see a picture of a horse, look at their muscles. They're amazing. They don't have much fat on them at all, if any. So they have a lot of power. And you can now see the speed and power on display if you go to a horse race. I don't like horse racing myself. I don't like to see how the horses are treated. And the riders that are called jockeys, they're those little tiny men, usually they're guys that don't grow very tall. They have a tough life, so I don't really like horse racing. But for some people, they find it very exciting to watch. But it says here, it is fraught with mistreatment of both horses and the riders, who again are called jockeys, if you ever see that word jockey. To be fraught with something just means it's filled with that thing, and it usually is a negative thing.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of horse racing, but, well, if you're kind of small in stature, if you're like only 4 foot 8 inches tall or something like that, and you're tired of people making fun of you because you're short, hey, there are job opportunities to become a horse jockey. That's one particular profession that needs small people because they're lighter and they can ride those horses. Although, as you said, I guess they're treated badly by the horse owners and the people who control these sorts of things. But horse racing is popular in various parts of the world. But it is exciting. However, it's fraught with mistreatment, as we said. That is common. And then we've got the problem of gambling by spectators. A spectator, of course, is someone who goes to watch the horse race. And there are probably several horse races during the day. And you go to the track and you bet on the horses. They always present it in terms of odds. What are the odds that this horse may win? If the odds are high, if the odds are high that the horse will lose, but if it wins, then you'll make a lot of money. I think that's how it works.
Yeah, say the odds are 10 to 1 and you place your bet on that horse. If you win, you get 10 times the bet that you place. So say you bet $10, $10. If your horse wins and the odds are 10 to 1, you get $100 back. So yeah, gambling is a big part of horse racing. Spectators, which is our vocabulary word, is very closely related to the word spectacles, which is the old-fashioned word for glasses that we wear today, eyeglasses to help you see. It says here, however, other modern horse roles are kinder than horse racing. About 1.5% of U.S. households keep horses as pets. You have to have land in order to own a horse because horses can't live indoors. They have to live outside. So you would need some land that your horse could walk around on, graze, eat some grass out there. And many more people just like to ride horses for entertainment. You can go to a stable and rent a horse. Some of those horses aren't very kind. They're used to being treated poorly by the riders who don't know what they're doing, like me. But you can go and ride a horse if you find a place that has a stable and horses for rent.
I think such services are available here in Taiwan.
Sure.
You can go to various farms, and if you pay a fee, you'll have the opportunity to ride on a horse. I've only done that once in my life when I was maybe around 12 years old or so. Yeah, of course, there are farms all over where I'm from. And
I'm shocked.
We went there one time with some friends, and we rode on horses, and it was interesting, but when they had the horses gallop...
Did you learn how to gallop?
Well, sort of, but man, I was so scared. I thought I was going to fall off that horse. And when's this horse going to stop running? This is scary. And I never did it again. But some people may find that exciting.
Yeah.
But yes, indeed, you do need to have a farm if you want to keep horses as pets. And of course, lots of people also keep them as therapy animals. Here it says they also make effective therapy animals, which means if you have this animal with you, they help you feel better, especially if you have a stressful life or something like that. We have nowadays this thing called therapy animals, which are basically pets that make us feel happy.
A lot of returned soldiers from war have a lot of difficulty coming back to their ordinary life and often need therapy animals like a dog. But these really tiny horses called miniature horses, they're really cute. They're becoming quite popular as therapy animals. They're very sensitive and they understand a person quite well as a dog. They're just bigger, but they're awfully cute. So they help people that have mental trauma, developmental issues. Maybe someone has Down syndrome or something like that. But if you have mental or cognitive illness, some sort of illness, you might want to look into getting a horse as a therapy animal. Cognitive just means related to thinking. Now, their suitability or how right they are for a particular job further emphasizes how reliable they are as animal companions. Yeah, you don't want to have a full-sized horse for a therapy animal. You have to get the tiny ones, but... Wow, they make really good pets, and as Tom said, people who have horses adore them. They love them to death.
But if you live in Taipei, Taichung, or Kaohsiung, or big cities like that, you're just not going to be able to keep a horse in your apartment. You better stick with a poodle or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. It's time now to listen to our Chinese teacher.
我们接着看第二段第三句，这里 Their role changed significantly. 这 significantly 很重要，他们的角色有了重大的改变。接下来请看下一个第四个句子 The animal stamina. 那马它的耐力 stamina and speed 它们的速度还有耐力 allow them to cover up to 160 kilometers in a single day. 这个 cover 是行走多少路程的意思。那这句话的意思就是说，马的速度和耐力过人，一天可以驰骋160公里。好，请同学看到第三段。第三段我们看到第一句，同学要特别注意的是词语搭配 Many of these functions can now be performed. 好，执行什么功能 ？Perform some functions. 它的动词搭配的就是 perform。function 搭配的动词就是 perform。再来，请同学看到第三句 be fraught with 这个片语，我们通常翻译成充满。那不过它后面接的东西呢，大概都是负面的。就像在这里我们看到，虽然这个运动很刺激，但是里面对这个马来说，还有对这些骑士来说，他们都受到了不公平的待遇。好，我们再看一下 be fraught with 还有哪些例句呢？比方说，世界很危险，我们可以说 the world is fraught with danger， 或者说 the world is fraught with risks。好，所以充满了冒险 fraught with risks， 充满了困难 fraught with difficulties， 充满了问题 fraught with problems。这是一个很有用的片语。好，那我们再请同学呢看到第8个句子 Their suitability for this job further emphasizes how reliable they are. 那老师已经很久没有跟大家提到名词子句了，请特别注意哦，在这个 emphasizes 及物动词后面要记得，一般来说都是加名词嘛，所以我们要把后面的原本是 how reliable are they 要改成名词子句，主词和动词要恢复成直述句的顺序。以上就是我们第一天课程的中文讲解，谢谢大家。
That's it for today, but please join us again next time because we're going to continue talking about this majestic animal, the horse. Please join us then. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.